Welcome to Scrapyard Wars 2, Episode A, Part 1. Yeah, that's how it's gonna be. So, today we've got a new challenge. Instead of just building a budget PC, we're gonna build a budget PC and then we're going to water cool it. We're gonna have a full budget of $500, $300 for our computer, and a maximum of $200 for the water cooling parts. But there's a twist. We cannot use any off-the-shelf PC water cooling gear. Nada.
So it'll be judged in 5 sections. 1, creativity. 2, effectiveness. 3, aesthetics. 4, acoustics. And then 5 is just overall.
We're gonna have a few ground rules as usual. So number 1 is it's tower only. We don't have to source a monitor and keyboard and mouse.
Number 2 is that there's no pre-work or in-between work. We weren't allowed doing research before the event, and we're not allowed doing research like after work or anything.
And number 3 is gonna get a bit of a curveball this time. Last time we said no help from friends, family, co-workers, social media contacts, whatever. This time we're going to allow it, but the panel of judges has been instructed that they are to deduct points from us depending on how much we take advantage of anyone other than our own wits.
And last isn't really rules, but we're just going to define what constitutes as a water cooling component. So there's cooling blocks, so your CPU water block or potentially GPU water block or whatever the heck else you decide to cool. Fittings, tubing, radiators, fans, pumps, reservoirs, or the coolant.
So that's it. Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, Scrapyard Wars.
Scrapyard Wars!
The time is now 2:30, go!
Before we start?
All right, you can count it. I know mine's right. 12, 9, 13, 9, 8, 7, 12, 15, 28, 13, 12, 17.
Okay.
We are just gonna charge on out of here as if we have some idea what's going on. Let's just wave by.
He's leaving, all right. I'm not gonna look at him. I'm gonna let him waste time by honking at me.
Are they ignoring us? It's okay, we'll get their attention.
They're gone. I think they're gone.
Bye. I kind of have a plan for this video. There is no performance judgment criteria. So it actually doesn't matter what PC that we decide to use. So instead of stressing out about building a great PC, I'm gonna go straight for water cooling parts, and I'm just gonna kind of water cool whatever PC I find. Something that's actually critical for me is the lifeline component. Unlike Luke, I am planning to use the lifeline. In fact, my strategy hinged on it so much that I was very, very afraid we weren't going to allow them. So Luke and I disagreed strongly about whether we should be allowed to have any kind of outside help. I said yes, he said no, and Nick was actually the one who saved my bacon here by settling it and saying, okay, it should be allowed, but the judges should factor it in because I have a neighbor who might be able to help me a little bit with this, even though I know that I'm giving Luke the ability to leverage his dad, who is crazy handy and has a lot of tools.
I want to find a computer really quick so I can figure out the whole layout for the socket so that I can try to start making blocks pretty much immediately. So I don't want to spend a ton of time looking for a computer. But I don't want it to be like garbage either.
I'm gonna go to probably an auto junkyard to find my radiator. I'm heading to the pet store now for my pump. I really don't have a plan in terms of the reservoir, but I'm hoping that, that I can come up with some kind of a good idea as far as that's concerned. And then the blocks. The blocks are gonna be the challenge. And that's where my neighbor comes in. He has a CNC mill. So we are going to try to actually make a CPU block, like a decent CPU block, and a full cover GPU block. That is the plan right now. So let's get some trash talk going early, hey? You suck, lol. Yeah. Take that, Luke.
What a dick. I'm not gonna play his silly little games. Tell him to be a man.
Okay, so we're looking at pumps, and these are all air pumps. Okay then. Okay, so unfortunately, they're doing some reconfiguring of their inventory, and the only one they have is this one right here, which is like 80 bucks. But they suggested that maybe if we go to Canadian Tire, we can find something. I am interested in finding something that's submersible though, since one of the judgment categories is acoustics, and having a submersible pump will make my system very quiet. So that, yeah, won't help me for now though. I mean, really, we're not going about this the most efficient possible way right now, but frankly, I'm not that concerned. We've got 3 days to pretty much build and water cool a computer and not get run over. So, I don't know, maybe I should be more worried, but I think we got this.
Hi there, I saw your gaming tower ad on Craigslist. I was just wondering if you could give me a deal if I didn't take the monitor, keyboard, or mouse.
Yeah, I can let it go, I don't know, to...
200 bucks?
To something? 200?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do 200.
Okay, can I come pick it up right now?
Yeah.
Cool, so he has a... It's a classic case, as you can see there. You guys, I'm gonna turn the monitor like that. Some of you guys remember that case maybe from a long time ago. It's not the greatest looking case, but it's a classic case. He does have a graphics card in it, but it's super boring. It's not the most interesting thing ever, but it'll work. And I got it for 200 bucks. So I have $100 to splurge on potentially an old graphics card that looks nice and potentially a better case. Because I saw some cases on there that were like 40 bucks and looked really nice.
I don't want to do something as ghetto as like a sawed-off milk jug, but yeah, I don't know what to use. Maybe like one of those big gulp drink containers on the top with like fittings coming down into the system or something.
Why not one of those little goldfish aquarium things that are like terrible that you shouldn't use? But...
Should I put a goldfish in my loop and a filter? We could store our goldfish in one of these. Seems harmless. Okay, so here's a submersible pump. $110. That would be literally over half of our budget. There's cheaper stuff here, but like the cheapest one, oh no, oh, okay. Hold on a second. The cheapest one is $13, but if that's the kind of flow rate we're talking about, and only a 1-year warranty, but then 20 bucks gets us 75 gallons per hour. You know what? We should remember this. I'm not gonna buy it now, but that actually may be a solution.
Whenever he's gonna do something that's like cheating or borderline cheating, he usually makes sure that there's very defined rules around it, so that he knows specifically how he can go around those rules. So I'm wondering if he's going to just try to find things that are essentially the same, but are not technically for water cooling. I might source another graphics card. I might source a new case, although this is a fairly classic case, so I might also stick with this guy. There's also a bit of metal, and I'm gonna be modding it quite heavily, so there you go. Feel free to count. Okay, so this thing sucks, but there's a lot of metal, which I'm actually super down with. But getting a better graphics card at this point is gonna be a little sketchy, because I was pretty sure in his ad, I could totally be wrong, but I was pretty sure in his ad, I'm gonna put this in the back, that he showed a 750 watt power supply. That might have been the other computer I was looking at. Oh well, I'll figure it out. Maybe no new graphics card, probably new case, because that one's actually fairly scratched up. So we're gonna go home and try to go to Princess Auto, because if I can get a block working for the CPU, and like that's gonna be the hardest thing. So if I can source some materials and start trying to make a block work at all, and I'll just make it for the CPU, then I'll know that I have the methodology down. then I should be able to do it again for the graphics card. So I'll just do one at once and then try to reproduce that instead of trying to deal with getting two of them working at the exact same time.
Okay, so the last real store I want to go to before I start calling places and browsing online is Home Depot, just because I think this is where I can probably find the tubing I need. And that's the one piece of the puzzle where I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to find it used. So I need to know how much that costs before I shop for everything else. So that whole strategy where you leave your car unlocked because there's nothing valuable in it anyway, only works if you don't leave your like razor blade in your car. They're like not that crazy expensive. Like this could work. If I decide to bail on the reservoir outright, then I've got my T-line, so that's only $2.50 here at Home Depot. So it's time to do some napkin math. Let's figure out how much we know we're spending and then how much we have left to spend. So so buying new, we need 20 here. We need about 10 here. Actually, we should call that 25 because of tax. Reservoir, you know what? I think I'm gonna lock into the T-line. So that gives us about $150 for radiator. So pump, we can get away with saving one by getting us, oh no, we can't have a submersible pump now because of the res. Ooh, we need to obtain a reservoir if we use a submersible pump. Shoot.
So Canadian Tire really didn't like us. We got threatened to be thrown in court, so all that footage is gonna be thrown away. But basically, their actually super helpful auto parts guy got me a part number for their cheapest radiator, which is $108. So that's not that cheap, but could be workable in the budget. I know the pump that I'm looking for is also about $45, $50. So that's 150 bucks out of my budget right there. And I would still need metal and fittings and a fish tank and tubing. So I probably can't afford all of that.
I didn't think the radiator was going to be hard. So I would be looking for something fairly inexpensive, and preferably with a fan already on it, but I'm not super picky about what exactly it is. See radiator core for $25? I'd be looking for a car radiator, but I don't really care which one it is. I'd just be looking for something relatively small, like... Okay. Do you guys have any salvage radiators that I could pick up?
Yeah, I got a bunch of them.
Oh, really? Wow, you're the first person with good news that I've talked to in the last hour. What would I be looking at for something like that? I don't have a huge budget for it.
$150 range kind of thing, but since you're not really fussy as to what radiator, I'm sure I can dig something out for 50 bucks.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Copper pipe, oh, here's some 20 bucks. Half inch gas pipe, new. Okay, let's call. Hi, I'm calling about the copper pipe. And I mean, is there anything wrong with it?
No, it's brand new.
Okay, wonderful, thank you very much. 30 to 50 feet, that could work. So here's where we're at. We've got 2 leads on PCs. The plan with the copper tube is that I'm basically just gonna like bend it up and jam it inside the case so that it can take advantage of any of the airflow that's already coming through the case to cool the CPU and hopefully the GPU. So there it is. There's our copper tubing. So in terms of bendability, it looks like I will be able to hand bend it. I don't know with what amount of precision. We have our first part. Again, I'm not too concerned about the PC. And we have 1 cooling component with leads on most of the rest. It was a good day today. Oh, I just realized I'm gonna have a mixed metal loop. I was planning to use a heater core or something, which is, a lot of them are made of aluminum. And then I was planning to make aluminum blocks. Now that I have the copper tubing, I'm gonna have to budget for some kind of corrosion inhibitor. The judges probably won't know that anyway.
Next time on Scrapyard Wars, Linus whips it out.
Oh my goodness, it's so long.
And Luke comes into a serious situation with the Dremel tool.
He always had 3 fingers, right?
I I yell over to Taryn to tell Brandon that I need him to get the camera ready so we can go. And that never happened. Brandon was never told. We're leaving now, it's about 12:30. Yeah, so we're late.
Okay, so my first hit for Aluminum Block Vancouver is from Hardware Canucks. One of the first, good old Sugar J, one of the first recommendations is Metal Mart. So Vancouver, in the suburb of Langley. Yeah, boy. We're practically sitting on one of their locations. Okay, awesome. All right, so here's what we're trying to do. We want to make a cooling block for a computer component. Jippity boop, there we go. Can you give me some idea of what we'd be looking at for like a block of aluminum, maybe yay thick, maybe yay big, or
like a price on it?
Yeah. Like what does that cost? Well, is that the like cheapo scrap bin?
But there's things like that.
Yeah, that's the one I actually saw right when I walked in, and I thought that looks pretty appealing.
Yeah, okay.
I need it today, and this is thick enough.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, do you just sell it by the length, or?
Sell you 5 inches or whatever you want.
So how much does it cost? I wasn't even able to pick that stupid thing up when I lifted it. And is there a particular grade or like alloy that it is?
Yeah,
or?
6061 P6 alloy.
Uh-huh.
So,
that meant nothing to me.
It's machinable, weldable. It's like a structural type of aluminum.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty decent quality.
Pretty decent quality. What a sales pitch. I like this guy. I didn't even know shops like this existed. Just like, here's a ginormous metal rod.
So 5 inches would cost $6.61 after tax.
$6.61?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's 1475 foot.
Not bad, okay. And then you guys have a charge for cuts, right?
First cut on that is free. Every cut after is $1.
Okay. Hey, that's very reasonable. Okay, can I have a couple minutes with a napkin and a pen and kind of figure out what exactly I need?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so a CPU block, there's a couple different ways we can go about this. We could go really small, like the older Nexos Alpha Cool blocks that were only about yay big. But what I worry about is we wouldn't be... Look, with the camera.
Linus is here.
They're here.
Wow.
I'm just gonna hide this diagram.
What's in there?
There's nothing.
What's that?
See you later.
What is it?
Bye.
Show me. This isn't awkward at all. I wonder what we're both doing.
Well, I guess we're gonna get what we're getting
So I guess we're
and then get out of here, because if you give us 5 minutes, we're pretty much
I'm allowed to stay in the store.
pretty much it. Wow. All right. We'll be back later then, because I can't give away too much of my plan. You're leaving too? Oh, I see. All right, I'll see ya. Well, he's found a source for metal. We know this much.
So I saw online that you guys could do fabrication?
Not at this location.
Not this occasion?
Port Kells.
Port Kells, okay, that's fine. If I showed them this, could they make me a plate with a little pod on it?
Probably, yeah. What kind of pod?
I was looking for a copper plate with holes through it so I could go through there, and then just any form of dome pod that would go over top of the CPU.
You have to ask them.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds like something they could do.
Yeah.
They're pretty talented up there, so.
So Port Kells, can you give me the address by any chance?
I think we just saw Brandon and Luke on the road, but it couldn't be. You know, no, we're not going to chase them. I think they're heading to Home Depot, though. That's okay. We've already been to Home Depot. Yeah. Well, I have. You haven't. All right. So they're making progress then. Oh, ball sack. This might be one of the ones I really liked. Oh, but I can't get it till after 5. Which one is this? Never been overclocked, a bleppity blip. 150. You know what? You know what? This is in a Sonata 3 case. It's by the time we put a graphics card in it, oh, we could afford a better graphics card though than the one we're about to go see.
We're just gonna go see it. So.
Yeah, we're gonna go see it. And you know what though, barring anything unforeseen, I'm just gonna grab it, I think. Oh, we're getting pulled over.
So I know you're touching your phone, which you can't do while you drive.
Yes, sir. Super duper don't know. Oh. Here for a Craigslist computer pickup. So, this is it, you say? This is an X58 based system. I did not see that one coming. This is what we're going to be dealing with. This card shouldn't be a problem. Although it's a really good thing that we didn't go and pick out a chunk of aluminum for our CPU cooler based on an LGA 775 socket size, because this is using LGA 1366. Does it have a front fan in it or not? It does not. We are not gonna have a lot of airflow. So I'm gonna have to get really creative about how I jam all of this in there to even have any chance of cooling this thing. Okay, well there you go. That's pretty much all of our PC budget right there. The rest we have is cooling budget. You might wanna count it, yep. That is one rancid front filter. Oh. Whoa! Ready? I'm gonna do it. Don't be downwind.
Which way is downwind?
That way. Oh, it's going back to the computer. No, get away from my car. Oh, look at that, it's a feather. There's a feather.
The cooling.
Yeah.
CPU itself.
Yeah. If I just got a small amount of metal from you guys in a sheet that I could put on, could I just essentially epoxy a cap on there? Would that be fine? The cost of fabrication was high, although that totally makes sense. That's what they do here. So getting it welded is probably not an option right now. That would be super cool if I was doing this on my own and had more than a $200 budget, but I don't. So I'm gonna fall back to the JB Weld solution. So this probably sounds terrible because it looks like they're cutting my sheet probably right there actually. So I'm getting a copper sheet, little box of copper. It's super cheap just to cut it, so that's pretty nice. And then I'm gonna have to kind of cut it to size my own, drill the holes myself, and then I'm gonna hopefully find a copper or aluminum cap of some sort at Home Depot or something. So I just got in total the copper plate for about $6, only because he had to sell it to me at a minimum quantity. I didn't know that until he was tilling me out, so I probably should have just got more just in case, but I didn't, so oh well. I'll figure it out. If I need more, it's not that big of a deal, it wasn't that expensive. And I'm sure if I go back there, I can be like, here's the invoice, you charged me for half a pound, I only got like 0.125 of a pound, can you just give me some more? And it might be fine. The cap costs about $2.75, copper cap. It's gross, I'm gonna have to clean that up, but that's no problem. I'm not worried about reservoir. I'm gonna pretty much ignore reservoir as of right now because I can just do the fallback of like going to Safeway and buying a $1 2-liter bottle of pop, and just like pouring the pop out, cleaning it up, and then using that as a reservoir. But pump and radiator is gonna be a pretty serious problem. Radiator is gonna be expensive and large. So there's the idea of just buying a car radiator, and there's also the idea of doing the copper coil thing, but I'd kind of rather not. But I'm going to buy a copper coil right now so that I can cut it up and use parts of it. So I guess we'll see what happens from that. So I got my copper tubing that I was looking for. This should be small enough to fit into that cap that I was talking about. And it's actually fairly flexible, so I got a fair amount of it because it's not too expensive, and I'm gonna try to just use it as all my tubing, because that would actually be kind of nice, because if I can just JB weld this into my blocks and whatnot, then I can save money on fittings, which would be pretty sick. But kind of funny story, while I was in there, I wanted to ask if Brandon could come in and film, and there was no one for me to ask. I couldn't find any employees anywhere, which is fine. It's more of a self-serve store, and we're in Princess Auto, by the way. So I get up to the teller and I go to buy my whole big roll of copper tubing, and she's like, "Oh, did you get it cut?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I just wanted to get all of it." And she's like, "Oh, you should get it cut." So I go back to get it cut. Some guy's trying to steal a whole bunch of stuff from the store. He has his pockets completely full with like products literally coming out of it. And they're like, "You have to pay for that, you have to pay for that." So he freaks out and just starts throwing products down the aisles while leaving the store, and just hucks everything all over the place, and then gets pissed off and leaves the store. And then I get my thing cut, and there's like a billion employees, and I could have easily asked for Brendan to come in and film, but I was finally done. So let's go.
50 bucks. So what I saved on my radiator, I may have actually just had to spend on coolant. But I have my pump, I have my coolant, I have my reservoir, I have my rad, and we're gonna go pick up the raw materials for our blocks now. I just wanna do a quick sanity check to make sure that my pump fits inside my reservoir before we leave here. Oh, that's really close. Uh-oh. Oh, that's quite restrictive at the inlet, isn't it? Oh, not too bad, actually. Oh, okay, hold on. Hold on, just a gosh darn moment here. These really are the world's worst suction cups, though. We might get away with that. This thing isn't gonna seal anymore, though, that's for darn sure. I guess I didn't really think of that. Okay. So, we're back at Metal Mart. Let's go ahead and have a close look at exactly what we need for metal for our blocks. No, that's fine, don't get the door for me or anything, just hold that camera.
How many times did we lose to that guy? Actually, I don't know who talked.
You gotta pay for that kind of information.
I have a very fixed budget. That's part of the competition.
He wanted some copper thing made. We sent him up to the other shop.
Ah, I know what he wants.
Copper plate.
I know what he wants.
With holes in it and with dome.
I know what he wants. That's okay.
Dome or something.
I have a better plan than him anyway. Pro trolls, man. Pro trolls.
We'll do it all day.
Looks like, man, this is, I wish I had my calipers. He's got digital calipers.
Nice.
You're the man. Okay, so center to center, and then zero that bad boy again. Ah,
What did you do?
sliced my hand.
Wanna see
Wow, well, that's surprisingly deep for not drawing blood. Oh, there's a little bit. Yeah, these are sharp, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Here's our order. We need 8 pieces. I'm basically just buying 2 of each to give us a buffer to screw up. Okay, so our metal's costing us $38.37. I asked for a lot more cuts than I had gotten my original quote on, so this is definitely more than I had necessarily wanted to spend on it. But I think 40 bucks for 2 water blocks I can find a way to live with. So that means we have left in our budget for fittings, any miscellaneous stuff. We've got $85. Not bad. Not bad. I think we're still okay. So here, let's have a look at the goods here. So these 2 are going to be those, that's going to be that heatsink for the GPU VRM. These bad boys here are going to be my tops for my CPU blocks, which are here.
Yeah.
And then our GPU blocks, and this is heavy though. We're going to have to take a lot of material out of this just for weight. So we've got 2 of those as well. So we have 2 of everything so that we don't have to leave the CNC tomorrow. Oh, was the $2 the change?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
My good sir.
Happy to help.
And I really hope this works. I have no backup plan.
Next time on Scrapyard Wars, the mayor of Quahog does the outro. Linus climbs a 40-foot tree. No, really, he actually climbs a tree. So stay tuned.
On this, all depends. So let's keep it safe. So nice guys at the Metal Mart, they actually looked us up in between the first time we were there and the second time. And they said to us, you guys aren't just some 2-bit guy in a camera. You guys have got a lot of subscribers on that there YouTube. And they actually offered us a discount on the metal, but because I'm an honest competitor who never cheats, I didn't accept it. And but we're gonna mention the Metal Mart anyway, just because they seem to be pretty good guys. They let us film in the store. They have lots of metal. It's everything I know about them. So this is interesting. Luke's back, and he's parked in an unusual place. I think he might be leaving some space to work in the garage. So I wonder what he's up to back there. So I was I was yelling, I was saying, so I guess you guys are probably in the garage, but I think that's my answer. Doesn't say anything about my camera person staying out and showing me the footage later.
I think my decision making here is going to come down to measure never, cut a whole bunch of times. Which I guess falls under the do as we say, not as we do mentality, because I would always say measure twice, cut once. But I'm not going to go as bad as Linus and like counterweight this motherboard with the Titan X and a 780 Ti, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to do shallow cuts. So I'm going to cut not nearly as far as I need to and just try to kind of keep on creeping it a little bit closer. For tubing, I don't know whether or not I want to use this copper tubing for the whole thing or not. It's probably possible, but I don't know, because I have no idea what I'm going to end up with in terms of radiator or pump, so I don't really want to dedicate myself to anything.
It never works right. So we're at my house now because Luke took over the garage at the office, and it's time to do some test fit stuff with our Scrapyard PC. So, all right, this is where I practice my knife throwing. And this is where I'll be finding out if my plans to bend the copper are even remotely have any basis in reality. So, what I wanted to do was actually use the bender from our hard pipe liquid cooling. So we used this for bending, and I'm actually going to try to do it with copper. If I can bend it 90, then I think I'm safe. So what I'll have to do is disassemble the computer fully, cut apart the case, and then as long as I can bend the copper into 90s, then I will pretty much try to fill in as many of the gaps as I can with copper tubing. As you can see, we're probably not going to get the entire length in there, but I'm certainly going to try and put in as much as I can.
Twist it as it bends?
That I didn't know. That I probably won't be able to do.
Well, that makes sense to you though, right?
No.
It doesn't make sense?
I don't know. Let me just try this.
Okay.
The fact that we can't use tools we don't have access to makes this a little tougher, because otherwise I'd be blowing my entire budget. Oh, it's gonna kink.
Yeah,
okay.
Told you.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, we can saw that back off. So let's try a larger radius. Okay, oh, now I'm worried. I want to disrupt as little of the nice part of this as I can. Okay. we might be screwed though. Okay. Let's try and go for something very gradual here. Yeah, having this held down better is gonna help a lot, but for now what we're doing is mostly experimentation. Yep. Okay, so it kinked again.
Is that ruined?
This part of it, yes, so we're gonna cut it off here for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so
I
that's
don't know if you have the right tools for the job, man.
That's okay, we'll find a way. I'm not gonna be defeated by this. But this obviously isn't going inside the case. Obviously. It was probably obvious to a lot of our viewers before I figured it out, but I've caught up now. How to bend copper pipe and tubing without crushing it. Step 1, fill it with salt. Straighten it out to begin.
Oh.
Okay, well this might actually work. This is probably how they do it. Okay, so here, let's take this out into the driveway, I guess. Okay, well, I obviously can't leave this stupid copper tube in my driveway, so we need to move it to my backyard, which is the only place I have that's big enough to keep it. Oh, you hit the tree. This doesn't really get me any closer to figuring out how much space it's going to take up in here, how tightly I can coil it, and if and how much is going to need to come outside of the case. So you know what we can do for the next few minutes here before we wrap up is start tearing this thing down.
So I'm picking up a radiator. We have to be there in 20 minutes. We have to be out of the store in 23 minutes.
How big of a rad do you, oh, sorry, I guess, but.
Just the smallest, essentially it's for a computer, so.
A heater core would work though, but or is that too small?
Really small is good. A heater core?
Yeah, like that right there.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like something that size. Would that be about the right size? Or
Yeah, no, that would actually be, this is perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
There you go.
Okay.
That's gonna work for you?
Yeah, that'll totally work. That's not too small, that's great.
Yeah, that was for that, you were gonna give them that Honda Civic rad or whatever, but
yeah.
That's way bigger than this, so.
Yeah.
That's a more appropriate size, then we'll do that one.
I didn't even know these were a thing. But yeah, if this can take just water, then
yeah,
which I'm sure it can. I'll take one of these. This one, I guess?
Sure, yeah, that's fine. You
okay.
Know.
Yeah.
How's $50 now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
Cool. That was easy. Oh man, it's great. It's the fittings are way smaller than I expected. This will fit in the computer. This just looks like a normal computer radiator, except these things were welded on there, which could be great. Yeah, so let's go. Okay, so I got the pump. It was a little bit expensive. It was twice the price of the one that I was expecting to buy, but the radiator that I got was half the price of the radiator that I thought I was gonna buy. So it's probably okay. It's actually threaded. If I open this up and look inside, it's a threaded pump. These are the threaded little knobbers that he gives me, and these are fine, but I could replace them if I really needed to. So tomorrow when I go to Home Depot or whatever, if I really need to replace them so I can get copper on there or whatever, that's totally possible. I don't think I'm gonna do that, as this was expensive in itself and the budget is starting to wane, but that's okay because I basically have everything. But yeah, expensive pump, but I think it'll be good.
Scrapyard Wars will return right now.
Beautiful morning. Birds are all like chirping and stuff. Now, I don't think I have his number. You know what? Okay, no, maybe we'll do this in like half an hour. Let's go fill the copper pipe with sugar. Up the tree, fiddle-dee-dee. Oh, okay, this is not my greatest idea ever. There's not much growing between the trees, so now I just have to decide, well, if I'm gonna fall to my death, I guess I wanna fall in my own yard. so my wife doesn't have to have that awkward conversation with the neighbor. So I'm gonna climb the right-hand side tree. If we were smart, we would have actually marked out on the extension cord how high I have to go. Okay, I'm trying to get the funnel out. Oh no, the funnel's not quite small enough. No, hold on, maybe. Well, it like kind of meets up perfectly. Oh no, I can probably make it work anyway. Yeah, I'll just spill some. It's okay, I got this. Yeah, it's not draining anymore. Okay, I can put it a little up. Oh, that sprayed sugar all over me. Oh, you know what? It's not draining at the top, but I can hear it moving. I could probably, now that I think about it, I could probably lift it up 10 feet above my head.
It says we have 6 minutes of filming left.
Okay. What about the other card?
The other card in the camera?
Yeah.
It's full.
Okay. Oh, I wish we were having this problem at a different time. Hold on, just let me, oh, my right butt, totally asleep. Okay. Okay, so here's our tuck-taped copper tube. Here's our tuck-taped copper tube here. This is where I've got the copper tube and the extension cord tied off. So basically the filling process looked a little something like this. I used to have a funnel, it fell. So this is how we know that it's full, because I try to pour things and it just falls down the tree. So actually, we didn't use that much of the bag. I still got this much sugar bag full. I could have just bought one of the little boxes of salt. I couldn't find the big thing of salt in the grocery store. Kids were waiting in the car, so I just went with sugar and got the crap out of there. I'm sure there's some super easy way to do this, and people are just watching the train wreck. It's probably like a copper tube sand filler machine. Capping it, and in theory, my copper tube is now bendable. In theory. We have not tried this. It would have been a good idea to try this before I spent an hour up a tree. All right, Taryn, you might need to help me out with the lowering process here. Pull it across the yard as we go. Okay, I'm dropping the backpack.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Oh.
Ha! I almost hit the camera.
Well, it moved where it was falling to.
That's what I meant when I said plinko. Do you not have plinko in America?
No.
Oh. All right, grab the copper tube.
Okay.
Okay, we have a plan for this. We're gonna head over to the neighbor's house since it's not so early, and we are going to find out what the feasibility of our block manufacturing is.
You don't actually know?
No, I'm pretty sure his car's there. Oh, am I not standing in the window? Is it John on the other side of the door? Oh, was that you exhaling? I thought I heard someone. Oh. Okay. We'll have to return later.
So I just bought the reservoir for my computer, which came pre-filled, although probably just gonna empty it anyways, but I'll empty it before I start building because I'll probably drink it.
Next time on Scrapyard Wars, Luke's budget is drying up.
Because that's all I have left. I super definitely can't afford it.
And Linus's plans might be a wash.
I'm not sure if we can still put a computer in here.
We are headed to Andrew Sherritt again. The plan this time is to get some fittings, probably. So we can adapt her from that heater cord that I got to the copper tubing. So we can adapt her from the flexible tubing to the copper tubing. And I might pick up one of those copper caps again, just so we don't waste a trip if I decide to water cool the office guard. All right, so Andrew Sherritt went well. I'm basically out of budget for water cooling stuff, but I still need that plate. So let's go see if we can figure that out. I just did some counting of a lot of change because that's all I have left for a water cooling budget. I have $6.20 left. I have one more thing to buy, and it's a copper plate. I'm hoping they'll just give it to me because I bought half a pound and they only gave me 0.125, which is fine because that's all I needed. But so if I get a different dude this time that's like, no, you have to buy the minimum quantity, then it'll be twice that price. And then I super definitely can't afford it.
It's technically a 2 priority, but I think I need to mod the case. Because if I don't do that, it's going to be very difficult for me to know how much space I have for my copper coil.
You just unscrew that, you don't need to grind it off.
It's riveted.
Awesome. That
Made it a little bit bigger.
Totally work, yeah, great.
I'm not that worried about it.
No? Okay. You don't want all my change?
No.
Okay, awesome.
I mean, technically I had to overcharge you on the other thing yesterday.
That's actually why I brought this back in, but would have been totally fair if you didn't honor that anyway. Yeah.
I was supposed to charge you.
I was gonna say, you also were supposed to charge me a full pound. So I don't know. Awesome, thank you very much.
No problem.
I'm gonna get to work. Have a good day.
Yeah, you do.
Damn. Freaking battery's dying. Someone unplugged the drill battery charger thing. The spare battery wasn't fully charged. I'm in pretty bad shape. There's things that I can do, but I want to get this done right now. Oh, that's bloody impossible. It is supposed to, it might work for the tubing, but I'm supposed to be able to tighten it up and then pull it around and cut it. But this thing's so big compared to it that I can't rotate it while it's inside. So I have no idea how I'm supposed to do it. And because it's on a curve already, if I try to rotate it while it's inside, it's like it doesn't sit properly, and then like I can't rotate it past this angle. So I don't know, I could be doing something wrong, but I'm probably gonna have to cut it with a Dremel in the end anyways, and then I bought that tool for nothing. Luckily, tools don't come out of the main budget, but I still feel really dumb buying that tool if it's not gonna work at all. It'll work for the copper tubing, but that's just brutal.
Go that way, please, honey. You're not going to be able to take your trike through the garage. Off you go.
I have to wait for Mom first.
No, Mommy will be at the front. Go, go.
Let's hope he doesn't text and drive anytime soon.
Dremel tool my ass. That is a rotary cutter. Okay, well this has clearly got absolutely no strength left after I did that, so I don't even know how much point there is leaving it on there. Where's my axe?
It's over there.
Thank you. Okay, no problem. Okay, here we go. Man, I love this thing. Okay, I'm sorry, did you say steel case construction? I'm sorry, did I say anything that sounded like I give a sh**? probably got enough room for our copper coils, but I'm not sure if we can still put a computer in here. Any other case modification we do will be relatively minor. I might drill a hole here or there. But now we've done the vast majority of the cutting that I foresee us needing to do. I ended up leaving this in. I think that should be okay. So the plan then is reservoir here, coil all up the front of the case, then maybe if we can end here, then coil here and coil all in front of the power supply, and then end here and coil here, something down GPU. I really hope we can figure this out. Red Green would almost be proud. Yeah, that's why almost.
Was that the idea?
Yeah, I wanted this in the middle.
Oh.
No.
Did you break it? Oh yeah, darn.
Shoot, that's terrible. 2 places. Okay, this is a big problem, because now we need to find something pretty much exactly this size, because the pump has to fit in whatever reservoir we're using. So I had already validated those 2 components to work together. I really didn't think it was going to be that fragile. There was only one left.
One what?
One of these where I bought it. Oh no. Yeah, let's find out just how broken it is. It's possible the cracks don't go all the way through. This one's pretty deep though.
Okay.
Huh.
Is it good?
It's too early to say, but it's possible that we got away with one here. That came from the top. There's water here. What we're looking at is right here, and even as I put stress on it, nothing comes out. And then this one, which I thought was actually much less likely to leak, we might have gotten away with one here. So while we were having lunch, my neighbor arrived at home. So we are heading over there with our raw materials and our components that we need to cool, and hopefully we will have some kind of a plan within the next, I don't know, hour or so for how we can turn this into something that fits on that. Exciting times now. Internet, this is John. John, this is the internet.
The internet, is it? Alrighty.
You guys are gonna be blown away by this garage. It makes our workshop look less awesome. John makes, solar powered digital scoreboards.
That's right.
Basically.
That's awesome.
Runs off the sun, radio controlled, no wires, slice and dice. Come on, guys. And my buddies.
So pretty much the kind of gear he has in here is mind-boggling. So he like makes all kinds of little gadgetry like these coils in here, all pretty much by hand, except the tools that he has that he builds himself by hand. This is why we're here. This is
a CNC machine.
Oh, wow.
Here's what we need to design today. These are our raw materials.
Okay.
And this little doodad. So first we've got our graphics card.
You can turn it, okay, that's your graphics card.
We'll pull that baby off. So this is pretty simple. All these, 9, 11, need to be covered by this, and we gotta kind of score it or something to get a kind of a heat sinky sort of effect to it. And then we gotta carve out a spot for that, and I'm just gonna stick it on there.
No problem.
So that's pretty easy.
That's your little heat sink then.
This is where things start to get more difficult. So these two pieces combined will be our CPU water block, and they need to go
right on top of the CPU.
Here. And then we need some kind of we need a way to seal it around the outside.
No problem.
More modern CPU block designs tend to use micro channels or micro fins directly over where the CPU die is going to sit. But because we're not using the kind of sophisticated machinery, much tighter than that. So on a much tighter scale and very, very short. But we don't have the kind of machinery that would allow us to build something like that.
The CNC can cut it pretty accurately. Oh yeah, I could do a little tiny, between this point and this point here, I could probably do 20, 25 little channels. Okay?
That's not too bad.
We can work on that.
One thing we want to be careful of too is we don't want the design to be too restrictive, too flow restrictive, because
it'll oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we were limited in terms of our pump budget thanks to the constraints of this project.
I gotcha. Okay.
So what we'd want to do is we would probably want to bring the whole thing down a little bit so that it can flow freely over top if it wants, but it can also sit around in the channels.
I gotcha. Now as far as this goes, we'll just tap some holes in the corners.
Yep.
Tap and die thing, and then we'll use silicone around the side here and put it on here.
Now, again, more advanced CPU block designs would use a rubber gasket, which is removable and replaceable, but because we don't have the time or necessarily resources to source a custom rubber gasket for our block, we're gonna go with a more permanent solution, which isn't to say that a silicone seal is permanent. You could rip it apart and re-silicone it and seal it back up. It's just not quite as elegant a solution as, if we were to commercially manufacture them.
Hold it, back up a little bit.
You wanna put it in a rubber gasket now?
No, I can do better than that. This could cut out our gasket for us using vinyl.
Does that work?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure, or like for sure? Let's see if he wants to talk to us right now or if he'd prefer to wait till later. Also, I need to give him his pen back because I stole it.
Well, if you believe, about 15 minutes after you left, it broke a bit.
No way.
I got a spare one. Put a cheaper bit in. This one isn't as much. I'll just run it slower.
Sorry, this ended up being a much bigger project than it was supposed to be. But if we reduce the scope, if we kill the graphics card, then that should help a fair bit, I hope. Sorry about this. I just want to curl up into a ball and cry.
I'm gonna do that later.
Oh.
With some discipline or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm tired. I haven't even been doing this. I've been following you around. So, Linus, how did it go today?
So it's the end of day 2. We have abandoned our plan to build a GPU water block. We still really don't know how to get enough copper coiled into the case to dissipate the heat from our CPU even, so it's probably a good thing the GPU block isn't happening. And we still haven't even put the holes in our reservoir and finished our CPU block. We still don't actually have a way to put our fittings into the CPU block. The good news is we can free up some budget by returning some things tomorrow. I can return GPU fittings, for example. So we need a tap for that pipe thread, which Lord only knows where we're gonna find. And then, yeah, we're gonna have to get at it pretty bright and early tomorrow.
I started off the morning by picking up this case and a fan and a power bar. I'll explain why the power bar in a little bit. But first things first, I need to do a case swap. I didn't realize the bottom hard drive cage was riveted in. That will have to be removed, but it's fine for now. I bought this Core 3000, but it's dusty and gross as hell. None of the pictures he had on Craigslist showed how dusty it was, but it's still a nicer overall case than the one that I had, and I didn't have any time left to buy anything else, so I was like, whatever, might as well just spend my money on it. Honestly, if I had more time, I might not have even accepted it. I probably would have accepted it, I just would have hopefully had more time to clean it. I wonder what Fractal Josh will say when he sees that I mutilated his case within like minutes of having it.
I'm gonna say, I thought you had style, man. Stop making Linus look good. What am I gonna see next from you? Socks and sandals? Just remember, buddy, karma's a bitch.
I'm trying to get the pump in the radiator higher so that I can clear the power supply. Just fill up your computer, you can just be like, all right. Except you won't have to fill it up because the computer's gonna short when you try to turn it on. So don't worry about it. You know, I don't even care anymore. As long as the loop works, screw the computer. What's gonna end up happening here is I'm gonna end up gluing a whole bunch of these cables unintentionally, but it's gonna happen. A whole bunch of those cables are gonna be glued together. Then I just have to try to use whatever's available to me to try to make it stop leaking. I have a tiny bit more epoxy, not much though, and I have one full pack of sugaroo and 1 1/4, possibly a bit stuff of more sugaroo. The chances of this right here not leaking are like 1%. I 99% believe that it's gonna leak.
I mean, can you imagine if I have to present a leaky system to the judges? So we need a bigger piece of copper from the Metal Mart to put over top of our CPU here.
Now, was that a WTF look or what?
I just realized I'm holding an invoice for one of their competitors that
Unfortunately, I just realized it as well.
Well, for what it's worth, the thing we have isn't gonna work.
I don't steal.
No, not the stuff you made for us the other day. Yeah. I need basically that,
Yep.
but 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. Okay, so we're hooped then. Let's go to Metal Market then. Where is this? Oh, it's
up,
really
200
close.
Street or 208.
Oh, it's way above. It's
like Colossus.
past the Colossus.
Oh, that's close.
All right. Can nothing go right today? And now there's a freaking train. Absolutely brilliant. So we're just gonna sit here and wait for a train to go through completely the center of Langley City. Everywhere we shop, people keep telling me they hope I have a great day. Not having a great day. This put me, by every possible way of accounting for it, over budget. We couldn't find the mounting hardware we need. So, we're just gonna cheat.
Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Linus is cheating? Wait a minute, why am I acting surprised?
Introducing Luke Lafreniere's all-new patented power panel. Equipped with a 6-foot cable, so you can plug your stuff in super far away. Yeah. Your stuff that isn't gonna work at all, because it's gonna be covered in water and metal. It's gonna short itself out and then short itself out again. Wanna go leak test it? Almost. Almost. This works. And whatever leaked didn't actually leak much. I don't even know what it is, because the cloth like didn't even get wet really.
If we watch long enough, I'm bound to do something clever eventually. Copper sugar. New plan. We're gonna find a much bigger object to coil around, maybe one of these 5-gallon buckets. And we are going to make an external coil that we put on the side panel here. We have no choice. I don't know if it'll fit. I don't know if it'll fit in there. What if we went right on top? And we kind of like spread it out a little bit? Actually, that could kind of work. We finished cutting out the little cutaway that we need for the caps that are next to the socket. But what we haven't done is actually finished the surface of the CPU block where it's going to make contact with the CPU. So for that, we actually need to change the bit. So this is what we're using?
Yeah, this little guy here, it's more for milling. That means that there's a cutting blade here and a cutting blade over here. And that goes in, takes the place of this little bit here. So it goes in like this, and then I center everything and I just set it up so the next time it goes past and here, it's going to be taking about a thou off. So it'll just clean this up. It'll make it look like you got it in the store.
Now, the college-educated among you will have probably noticed that there are some definite marks on the bottom of the block. That's actually not as important as having a flat surface, because our thermal compound is going to fill these little micro scratches in the surface here.
We'll smooth those out too.
Oh, we can do that too?
Yeah. Good old-fashioned sandpaper.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Just...
None of the judges will ever see and appreciate the block manufacturing that went on. All they're gonna see is this copper plate with a couple nubbins sticking out of it. They're not gonna know what's going on under the hood here. So I want the audience to at least appreciate the magnificence of our water block here. Now, we could have done better if we'd done certain things, and I'm aware of the things that we could have done better, like for example, having a rubber gasket sealing this or not using mixed metals. But hey, for a homemade block that we know nothing about its performance yet, pretty darn good.
Someone might be wondering how you drain this loop. The answer is you don't ever do that. It's impossible. As far as I can tell, considering everything is epoxied together, it would literally be impossible to drain this loop. Unless you inverted the computer and then poured it out of there. But if you're gonna do that, this stuff at the bottom isn't fixed and everything's probably gonna break. I'm stuck here for a while. I have to hold each side of this tightly so that water doesn't come through, so that the epoxy can hopefully dry. How long does it take? Usable strength in 8 hours.
We're kind of stuck for about 30 minutes here. So all that's left is to solder our tubing onto the CPU block, fuse the CPU block with some kind of a sealant, probably just silicone because we're not at the point where we can do anything fancy anymore, do up our reservoir, and build the computer. That's where we're at. It is now the end of the 4th day of Scrapyard Wars 2. The judges are going to have to be extremely generous for me to get anything resembling a competitive score in this competition.
I'm gonna give it one more coat of epoxy, but I think we're done. I think that's it. Yeah, one more coat of epoxy, but I'm basically calling it right now. I'm just gonna do one more coat, but I'm finished. I'll bring it out to the garage after this and just let it sit.
Right, so as you can see, it's getting dark. Taryn's gone home for the night, but John, out of the graciousness of his heart, is still helping me because we still have to attach the pump to the reservoir, and I think we've got a plan. Wasn't my plan. I think we've got a plan that's going to work. If she fits, she sits. Just like that.
Nice and tight.
Now, we wanted a clear silicone for this, but Home Depot's a little closed at the moment, so we went with a white one. It's not as pretty, but it should seal up just nicely. We'll know in half an hour. We're gonna use our sealant and 4 screws here to close up the block that I actually had almost no hand whatsoever in actually making.
Silicone seal.
Yep, here we go. So it's finally pour time. I have very little confidence in this seal at the for the power cord for the pump, but at the very least we can find out how everything else is doing. No obvious leak at the pump outlet. That's the most essential, because worst case scenario, our judges aren't that water cooling savvy. So we could just try to get away with one here and just have our water level down here. Okay, so that caulk is clearly dissolving, either because in half an hour it's not cured enough, or because it just plain wasn't gonna work for this. So I had 100% silicone in my bathroom drawer. Our pump doesn't have enough head pressure to start our loop. We might be able to tip it to make it a little bit easier on our pump. The good news is our CPU block isn't leaking yet. So that's the good news. There isn't much good news right now. That was all the good news I had. Whoa, hey, look at that. Okay, so basically what we're doing right now is cleansing the system of all the junk and debris and dissolved crap that's in there now. Then what I'm gonna do is take the CPU block and the reservoir parts that are bad apart, redo them with silicone, let it set overnight, and hope that by 24 hours they mean 12 hours. For better or for worse, this computer is liquid cooled.
Well, you know what? Hold on. Let's go ahead and ask who you guys think is gonna win.
I think Luke will win Scrapyard Wars 2, the scrapping. He's taller.
I think Luke will win. If he doesn't, we all lose.
I think Luke is gonna win Scrapyard Wars. Sorry, Linus. Love you both.
And myself, Rooster? Who do I think is gonna win? I think Luke is gonna win because
I think Linus will win because he knows how to climb trees, which you know is really important for building computers after all.
Welcome to Scrapyard Wars 2, the finale. We're doing the format a little bit differently this time because it's not as simple as, oh well, let's benchmark it and find out who wins. So we actually have a panel of 4 judges, including Taryn, Brandon, and the 2 Nicks. So one person for each of us who toiled with us through the entire endeavor, and 2 people who have never seen the system.
First section is creativity, worth 10 points. Next up is effectiveness, worth another 10 points. Then aesthetics, 10 more points. Acoustics, 10 more points. And finally, overall, just general category, 10 points. So
Now,
a total of 50.
The overall is very much up to the judgment of, well, the judges. So if we did things like went over time, went over budget, or utilized lifelines, so if we got outside help with our project that we didn't directly pay for, then they're going to have to factor that in to our scores.
I would like to point out that it was actually just for lifelines. And going over time and going over budget, we're actually like completely breaking everything. But it's okay. We'll move forward, I guess. So you guys can actually come around here. We're facing the system here. First of all, I would like to welcome all the judges here today to the unveiling of the Ghetto FR 3000.
You're honored to have me here.
First thing that I would like to point out. First thing that I would like to point out is the patent pending easy fill technology that we have in the top of the case. So as you will see in a moment, this goes into the computer and is actually the reservoir. So you can fill the computer directly or drain the computer directly just through the top. Very easy to do. Another thing in our patent pending easy technology is we're inspired by Tesla technology. So what we did was we introduced the power panel. Not the power wall, but the power panel. So on the back of the computer here, if you guys kind of rotate around a little bit, you can see that there's a mounted power bar. And actually only one power cable actually leaves the computer. So you can plug your monitor into there, you can plug your speakers into there. All of your power can plug directly into the computer with our patent pending easy power panel. So once you open the side of the case, you actually get to the challenging parts of this build. So you can see we spared no cost. I don't know if I'm going to mention brand names, but yes, it is a high quality water bottle. Eco-friendly, actually, yes. Here, this is the Luke Industries. Luke Industries, yes.
More like lukewarm.
Oh! As you can see here, the benchmark is currently running and we're at a not too bad 55 degrees.
Let's go ahead and see what the judges think.
I actually discovered something quite interesting if you want to hop on over here. I just saw this little thing leaking a little bit of water into the power supply.
Oh,
so
no.
I don't know how reliable it is now.
Is this a functional build?
It's not. We saw that water leaking straight into the power supply, which is not good. It'd have to be fixed up.
Honestly, how bad do we know that leak is?
Okay, so aside from our bias judge, we think that the build may be functional if he fixes the link, but at this point, we're not entirely sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the zero. Now you're gonna see the hero. Welcome to the unveiling of the winner of Scrapyard Wars 2. My system is horrible.
Oh, damn! Girl, that looks good.
This is the Uber Cooler Magic Machine 5000. It features what I call, and this is my personal trademark, the, what do I call it? I don't remember what I call it. This is a copper coil cooling system, or CCS for short. So let's start by firing up the system just to demonstrate that it does in fact work. You can see here at the front of my case, all bays are populated by either a drive or a bay cover. I also have an eSATA port for outstanding connectivity, very modern. 2 USB 2.0 ports. My air intakes are here. This door folds out more than a typical door. You can see it's on 2 hinges, so that if you accidentally bump it, it doesn't break off as easily. Quiet. I think that's a 10 out of 10 for acoustics. Not that I can tell the judges too much about how to judge the system, but that's a 10 out of 10. Now you can clearly see the copper coil is very stable. Okay, this is the moment. Everyone brace yourselves. This is a thing of beauty in here. Okay, hold on. There we go. You see that security? It doesn't lock, but it's so hard to remove, you'd think it was locked. So this, my friends, is the heart and soul of this machine. Now, there is some water down here. That is old water. That is old water from this last night when this was still leaking. Now, I have to confess, I did go a little bit over time, probably about 18 to 20 hours over time.
Whoa.
Now, we've gone with the, what I call a camel top system, where the cooling hump is located on top of the system. Instead of using fittings, soldered or brazed to the ends of our copper, we have actually just zip-tied tubing directly onto our copper pipe.
Is that reliable?
Actually, it seems to be working okay, surprisingly. Another innovative cost-saving measure, and I'm saving this one, is the fact that the CPU block is using sawed-off pieces of this tubing soldered to the copper top of our fully custom CNC cut water block as fittings. So, we brought our budget by returning about $40 worth of fittings that we had already purchased. By returning it, we brought our total spent on the water cooling down to $198. Just shy of the 200 mark. For our system, we paid $280, and I bought some Ninjago Ninjas that I was planning to put in it, but they weren't very posable, and I forgot. If you want to come over here, judges, and have a look at where we're sitting, we've been under load for about 7 minutes while I've been talking, and we're sitting at around 87 degrees on the CPU, which gets us fully turboed up on our Core i7-930, which is a very high heat output CPU, by the way. Full performance, not the lowest temperatures, but incredibly quiet, with the CPU actually being passively cooled by the copper loop. But wait, there's more. If you had a little bit more money to spend than we did, you could get yourself a room fan, oscillating room fan, right there. Cools the coil, cools you, cools the coil, cools you. Hot summer day, computer's good, you're good, everyone's good. And that is my presentation. Thank you, judges.
I think it's about time the judges pick a winner and pick a sore loser.
For Luke's system, 138 points. The possible total scoring for Linus' system out of 200, 100. 131.
Yes. I can't believe you got that close to me. That's actually ridiculous. This one did meet. Yeah. A lifeline, almost a whole day of extra time.
Yours will literally... Thanks for watching Scrapyard Wars 2. We will definitely be back with more Scrapyard Wars.
The scrapping.
Like and subscribe.
Like and scrap button.
And we could have a special celebrity guest on the next episode of Scrapyard Wars.
A very hard-nippled celebrity guest.
See you next time.
Bye.